Yeah, okay. Hey lads, my name is May and today I'm going to be wrapping up all of the books I read this month in August. I read a total of 7 books this month. This is nowhere near normal, but that means I am up to 38 books read this year out of my 52 for my goal. Before I begin, I thought I would just give some quick context as to how I got these books. Back when we were allowed to leave our houses, I was part of a teen book club at my local library, and they would just let us take a pick of any books that we wanted. I thought I would just explain that if any of these books seemed really random. I picked most of them up about 4 years ago, and because I'm really stubborn, I don't want to get rid of them or give them away to charity if I haven't given them a go. That's why they're kind of weird. The way I choose the next books that I read is I get up my TBR. My entire TBR is just the books on my bookshelf, and I get a number generator and I pick them randomly, and sometimes the dodgy books that I still have pop up, and I landed with a couple of those this month, unfortunately, but some of them were okay. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into all the books that I read in August. Number 1 is 6 Impossible Things by Fiona Wood. I gave this book a whopping 2 stars. Basically, it follows the main character, Dan, and he moves house and he gets a crush on this girl called Estelle. I really loved some of the aspects of this book. He's struggling with his dad just coming out as gay and leaving him and his mum, and he's just had to move into a new house and he's making new friends and he's going to a new school, and he does things that protagonists don't normally do. There's a scene in the book where he reads someone else's diary. I think that's so interesting to read about, and I think Fiona Wood definitely did a good job in that. I wish she would have went a bit more in depth with his relationship with his dad. I feel like that was kind of glossed over and it was a bit disappointing, but those 2 stars belong to Dan's character, and it was really good from that perspective. The thing that let it down for me was it was just so, you know how when you're in primary school and you have this idea of what high school's supposed to be? It feels like this is what that is. Like, you've got your jocks and your pretty girls and everyone's having sex and doing drugs and going to prom, but they're like 14. So they wouldn't really be doing that at that age. It just felt really unrealistic. And another thing is, from the very start of the book, Estelle is introduced as this manic pixie dream girl sort of character. For example, this is what's written on the blurb. First checking there was no one nearby, she turned slowly around and around and around, framing her view of the twig-snuggled sky with a hand held to her eye. Then she walked into the house next door, half dizzy, smiling and carrying my heart. There's the sky she likes. See, that's so lovely, but from that moment onwards in the book, Estelle is such a 2-dimensional person. All she does is use Dan for the things that she wants, and there's just no connection there. I would have liked it if Fiona would use the fact that Estelle was a popular girl to her advantage. You know, is that quirky, strange girl on the inside, but she's putting up a front for all those people around her, and it's Dan that discovers who she really is and they bond with that. But no, Estelle is just, like I said, 2-dimensional throughout the whole book, and I found that really disappointing. But like I said, this book really did have its upsides, especially Dan as a main character. He's such a funny narrator as well. He has a dog. I can't remember the dog's name, but such a funny relationship. I think if I was a bit younger, I might have enjoyed it more, but then again, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone younger than me because I don't know if it really sends the right message. Yeah, 2 stars for 6 Impossible Things. The next one I read, At the World's End by Catherine Fisher. This was a completely random pickup for me. I can only assume I picked it up from the free box at the library because the blurb looked interesting. The premise is that this space star or something comes to Earth and freezes everything. There's a group of people that take shelter in the shopping centre, and this group of people have been living in this abandoned shopping centre for like 8 years, and they don't know what's on the outside. And so once a year they sacrifice one person from the shopping centre group to go out and check if civilization is back to normal or if there's anyone out there. But for quite a short book, I really loved it. It was just a nice little story. I think short stories can be some of the best stories ever written because they have a limited amount of space to tell it, and so everything that's written inside it means so much more. And this is definitely the case with this book. It's very ambiguous, so you can go back and think about it. I reckon this book is right for anyone of any age, and so I gave this one a 4 star. Number 3 is The Nature of the Beast by Jenny Halker. I love this book so much. It was so good. I keep forgetting the main character's name. Can't remember the main character's name, but it follows a boy in Northern England. There's been a recent mass job loss in a factory or something, and his dad and his grandpa lose their jobs. So the town's kind of in chaos already about that. But then some strange creature starts killing all of their livestock and chickens and stuff like that, and some prize money becomes available for anyone that can catch a photo of the beast and hand it in. I really love this book. It was so cool. I love when authors write as the accents from their characters. Like, you could just feel the northernness exploding from this book. It was amazing. There is so much to love about this book. It's genuinely like you're in the mind of this 13-14-year-old kid. I'm trying to think what it reminded me of, but I can't remember. It kind of has the same sort of writing vibes as The Perks of Being a Wallflower and A Monster Calls. Is it A Monster Calls? It's his series, The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness. Just the young boy who's trying to figure things out, and you can feel his anger and explosiveness in his head as he's making all of these decisions. It's just really interesting. I love it. I think it can be enjoyed as just a story, but then you can also think really hard into it and start making connections and metaphors and everything. Like the Beast is obviously a metaphor for his inner struggles. I love that the main character's last name is Coward. I gave this one a 4 stars. I don't quite remember why. It was good, but it just wasn't like top tier good. But other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I was on the edge of my seat for a majority of it. So yes, 4 stars to The Nature of the Beast. Next up, I read the first 2 books out of the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. I read City of Bones and City of Ashes. I actually read The Perks of Being a Wallflower in between that to break it up, but I'll just lump them together for now. They definitely exist. I am planning on doing a fat junkie review for the whole series eventually when I finish them, but I guess I can try and keep it to the first 2 books for now. I think overall they're probably a 3 star. My issue is probably just the characters and how they're set out and how Clary is not like other girls. Her obsession with Jace is kind of funky. I don't like how Simon is portrayed as the good guy best friend, but he's kind of just a weirdo asshole. It's just kind of strange, and the only characters I care about are Alec and Magnus. Saying that, I'm still gonna stick around because it's Shadowhunters. Hello. The Infernal Devices books are probably the greatest thing to grace the planet, and I enjoy learning more about the Shadowhunter lore and all of that. I don't think I would read it if it didn't have this underlying level of amazing world building, and that's what really saved it for me. That's what bumped it up to a 3 stars, is the amount of effort and thought that has gone into this world building. I love how it ties into religion. I found that so fascinating. I don't want to talk too much about it because, as I said, I'm going to do a bigger review on it, but yeah, I read these 2 chunky boys and overall they're both 3 stars. The next book I read, this beautiful, beautiful specimen. This is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. I've done a review on this already. It is so superb. You need to read it. It's basically just a coming of age story that follows our protagonist Charlie. He's just starting high school and he's having trouble making friends. It's such a simple plot, but the way it's written is so meaningful and special, and I'm in love with it. I have a shelf that I'm looking at right now that has 3 of my favorite books on it. If you make this shelf, you're in May's heaven of books. I don't know how to describe it. On this shelf currently, Coraline by Neil Gaiman, A Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett, and The Perks of Being a Wallflower, because it just carries so much meaning in my soul and it makes me so happy. And if you have this book flying around, please, oh my goodness, read it. It is so amazing. Whopping 5 stars from May on that one. The last book I read, Solace and Grief by Foz Meadows. I'll be honest, I DNF'd this one. So this book follows Solace Morgan, who's a vampire. She grows up in foster care but runs away and meets some other teenagers who all have magical powers. And the blurb ends with, "And since when has there been a medieval dungeon under Hyde Park? That sounds amazing. Vampires in London, obviously, Infernal Devices. I'm down for it. That sounds cool." But then as you read the book, you realise, oh, Hyde Park, Sydney. That's okay, even better, vampires in Sydney, that's amazing. But it doesn't hold up. It really doesn't. Right, we're gonna keep in mind that I've only read about 100 pages of this book, and so I don't have a full grasp of what the book is yet. It might get better, but I just don't really want to read anymore because I don't like what I've already read. Like 6 Impossible Things, it is so painstakingly unrealistic. And like, there's a difference between good unrealistic and bad unrealistic. Good unrealistic is that one time Sunny Baudelaire climbed an elevator shaft with her teeth. Bad unrealistic is having a gang of teenagers living rent-free in a warehouse in Sydney. All of them have superpowers, none of them have supervision, and Solace just moves in with them, no questions asked. They all share beds, no questions asked. It's kind of weird. It doesn't go. Everything that Solace has done thus far doesn't add up. She escapes from foster care, and like, so far, there's been no punishment for this. There's been no consequence. She just leaves and nothing happens. I'm going to reenact a scene from this book. How am I gonna do this? Okay. Hello, yes. I am edgy vampire teen from Sydney. Why hello, I am classic one-dimensional love interest. Would you like to have drinks with us and get so hecking drunk that it is inappropriate for 15-year-olds? Why yes, that would be lovely. Also, can I move in with you? Yes, we just so happen to live in a warehouse in Sydney rent-free so that the author doesn't have to worry about the implications of any of that. That's what happens. She just asked to move in and they're like, yeah. I don't know why I'm so angry about this. I'm sorry. There were some bits I did enjoy though. I don't want to come across as if I'm making fun of it. It's set in Sydney, which is lovely. I feel like maybe I'm just missing out, but I haven't really read any books set in modern day Australia. I think that's really cool. There's a bit where a character tries to tackle an ibis, which if you're unaware is one of these things. They are the spawn of Satan.
From the city's rooftops, the bin chicken has spotted something. Bins.
Once I'm finished with my current project, I'm really going to start looking into writing a book that's set in Melbourne, and you bet there's going to be a reference to ibises in there. I also liked how the author describes the teenagers as, oh, the blonde-haired youth over in the corner. It was just charming. But yeah, unfortunately, I just did not click with this book. It might be better for more younger teenagers. I'm sorry. And yeah, that is the last book that I tried to read this month. I feel terrible for saying it, but it kind of put me in a bit of a slump of reading and I didn't really want to read anything else. But I'm trying to be okay with DNFing books because that's normal and I shouldn't waste my time reading books that I don't like. It's okay. Overall, I think I did pretty well this month. I found a new favourite book of all time. I started reading a series that I have been trying to read for the past 4 years. I'm doing well. Thank you guys so very much for watching. I hope you guys are doing alright wherever you are. As of now, we have about 2 weeks until Victoria is out of stage 4 lockdown, I think. At least that's when we go back to school. I officially haven't left my house in a month. It's fine. There are some snazzy petitions down in the description below. There are also some educational websites. The first one is Creative Spirits. I found it's a really amazing resource to learn about Indigenous Australians. And I found a new one called Shit You Should Care About. And get this, it has a lot of shit you should care about. I have made the promise to myself to sign a petition every video I upload, so if you guys want to join me in that endeavour, then please do. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.